Hey, thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name's Olivia and I'm a gender affirming voice teacher. And in this video, I'm going to talk about confidence. Now, when you're working on your voice, the technical aspects of voice training are obviously super important. But the mental and emotional components of voice training are maybe just as important. When you're coming from a place where you want to change your voice and you're not feeling confident or good in your voice, it's hard to just make that switch and say, okay, I'm gonna start playing around with my voice. I'm gonna explore when you really don't like the sounds that are coming out of your mouth. It's also possible that as you start progressing and your voice is changing, that your mind might play some tricks on you. You might not actually hear those changes. So your voice could be progressing and your confidence and the emotional piece is kind of getting stuck behind. So it's really important to work on this confidence and mental and emotional piece as well. So in this video, I'm going to share 7 ways to help you be more confident in your voice. Number 1 is self-care. Now, you probably hear this all the time on the internet, from your therapist, from whoever, but it's true that taking good care of yourself can really help your self-esteem and your confidence. So if you decide that you are worth it to invest the time to, get outside and take a walk when you know that's going to help you feel better, or, cook a healthy meal for yourself, when you know that's going to make me feel better and set me up for tomorrow or later in the day. Self-care can look different for everybody, but it doesn't have to be something that you spend money on necessarily. It's about just investing time and care and energy into the things that make you feel good. Maybe that's taking a minute and painting your nails. Maybe that's, taking a hot bath. Whatever it is for you, to make sure that you say, you know what, I'm worth taking this time to invest in myself. Number 2 is affirmations. Now, affirmations help when you are kind of stuck in negative thought patterns. This is super common because our minds tend to kind of gravitate back towards the same lines of thinking about different things. So if you, let's say, have been feeling really negative about your voice and you don't feel like there's hope for your voice, you can kind of go in and say, you know what, I'm gonna see if I can try to shift those thought patterns. So daily affirmations can be things that you say aloud if you're comfortable doing that. You can also write them in a notebook. So you can actually take some of these negative thoughts that keep kind of swirling around in your mind and turn those into affirmations. So you can tailor these affirmations to what is really going to be important for you to know about yourself. So if you keep telling yourself, like, I'll never have a feminine voice. I'll never have a feminine voice. And this just keeps going on, around and around in your head. Maybe you can switch that to, I have a feminine voice. And the more that you write that down, the more you take that in, you can start to switch the way that you think. So you can start to build the idea of possibility and hope that things can be different. Because if you are, even if you're taking the steps, you're still in that negative thought pattern, but you're in lessons or you're taking steps to work on things, your mind will find a way to kind of, sabotage you and say, yeah, see, I told you could never do it because something didn't go quite right. So if you switch that thought pattern and think, you know what? I have feminine voice. I can do this. It can help propel you as you move forward. Number 3 is building healthy relationships. Just like that negative voice in our head, sometimes we have negative voices that are outside our heads, okay? They might be in the heads of our friends or family members. So it's important to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that uplift you, that support you in whatever you're doing. So you might have some friendships or relationships where you start to realize, you know what? I actually don't feel like this person is uplifting me, that they are behind me in this. You might think, well, maybe they're in a negative headspace and they're kind of trying to keep me there as well. So sometimes breaking free and out of some of those negative patterns means, maybe taking a break from people that you do love, but maybe they're not serving you. It's called boundaries, baby. We gotta have them. Number 4 is validation. So it's really hard to judge your own voice. When you're listening back to your own voice, you're like, what? That's not what it sounded like when I heard it in my own head. So it can be really kind of a disorienting experience to start to really listen to your own voice and to be objective. So asking for validation or asking for positive feedback from friends or family members, there's nothing wrong with asking for a little extra support or asking for, some validation that things are kind of moving in the right direction. Of course, getting constructive criticism is also great too. But you want to kind of balance things out. You need, I'm not of the mindset that, in order to make changes, you gotta work. You gotta be, these are all the things you're doing wrong. Like you're getting yelled at in boot camp or something. Like, I don't really subscribe to that. I think that you have to celebrate your wins along the way. So yeah, asking for that validation, nothing wrong with that. If you get some positive feedback and you start to get the sense that, oh wow, actually I am making progress, that can give you that boost to kind of continue practicing, where you might have felt before like, oh, I keep practicing, but I don't really feel like I'm making progress. So what's the point? Maybe I'll just toss it all out. So having that validation can really help you and continuing to move forward. Number 5 is practice. Now, of course, this probably goes without saying, right? We have to practice in order to build your confidence with your voice. But it's a funny thing with things you really want to work on or things you want to change. Sometimes you can kind of procrastinate. You can put things off or put things to the side when you really want them. So maybe you're struggling with, fear that you won't actually change your voice. So you're putting it off because you're saving yourself from the disappointment if you do try and fail. So looking inward and recognizing if you might have, some kind of block going on, and there's a reason that you're kind of avoiding practice or avoiding taking the first steps. And then also having some systems in place to kind of support you in maintaining a practice habit. I have some other videos on creating habits that I can link below, but time blocking is something you can look up. The 2-minute rule is another one, or a habit stacking. Those are all, different ways of kind of creating habits. Just Google those few things and you'll find a ton of resources about different systems that you can try. And if you haven't found a way to kind of get in the groove with practice, that's okay. You probably just haven't found the right system or the right time of day for you. You'll figure it out. But the more you practice, and that doesn't mean like, practicing 3 hours a day or something, but the more consistent you are with the practice, the more of that incremental change that you will see. So even though you might not see a huge difference from yesterday to today, you're always going to be building that little bit incremental improvement over time. So little bit by bit, practicing can really help build your confidence, because not only are you making that incremental change, but you're also it's on your mind a lot more when you are more consistent with it. You're not like, oh yeah, what was I doing a week ago when I tried this? You're in that groove of, here, I'm developing this system and this way of practicing. Number 6 is challenging yourself. Making changes won't happen if you're not putting yourself out of your comfort zone and trying things that you didn't know you could do before. So let's say you're wanting to work on conversation. So you've got a couple outings scheduled. You're going to go to the drive-through. You're going to make a couple calls on the phone, and yeah, a couple things can happen. So it might not go well. It could not go well. You could not feel great about your voice. You could get a response that really doesn't feel good. You could be misgendered. But ultimately, you're gaining experience doing the thing you want to do. So even if you go into that situation and it doesn't go as planned, you can take something from that. You can learn from that. So whether that learning experience comes from, your technical aspects of your voice, like, you know what, I don't think my pitch was as high as I wanted it to be. Or whether it's, you know what, I'm going to let this slide off my back because I know that someone misgendering me doesn't take away from who I am. And on the other hand, if you go out and have an outing, it's possible that you could have a really good experience. So I think the more you have, even if it's kind of 50-50, a negative or a positive experience, you're putting yourself in a position where you have the possibility of having a good experience. If you never give yourself that chance, you're never going to have those positive experiences. So the more you put yourself out there into these situations and say, you know what, I can do this, you're going to continue to prove to yourself, you know what, I've already done this 5 times this month. I can do it this 6th time. I've already done it. So that can kind of compound and really build your confidence. And number 7 is not comparing yourself to others. So obviously this is easier said than done. We live in a society with social media and everything where it's totally normal that we're all kind of like trying to put out our best lives and you might feel like, oh, I can't believe Sally went on that vacation, or I can't believe my friends are hanging out without me, or, whatever it is. So if we apply that to the voice, everyone's journey is going to be different. And everyone's idea of what they want their voice to be or how they want their voice to feel is going to be different too. So your voice will never sound exactly like somebody else's voice, and that is a great thing because it is your voice. So whether somebody started voice training and they did it in 2 minutes and maybe it's taking you 2 years, no problem, because you're on your own journey. So remember, you are special just as you are. Your voice is unique and nobody else can have your voice. I hope this video has been helpful. Confidence does not, just appear overnight, certainly. But I think taking these smaller steps and looking at different ways outside of just your voice training to kind of come into yourself or feel better about who you are can be really helpful, because ultimately your voice is a part of who you are. So working on these pieces to make sure you're caring for yourself, they can really pay off when it comes to voice training. Thank you so much for watching. If you are interested in taking a lesson, click the link down in the description. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video.